Live. It's Wednesday night. Let's see if we can update this stuff. Hello, it says, doesn't say we're live yet. Yes, it says we're live. It says we're live. Let's see. Oh, pardon me. The internet could be slow today. Live from the boat. It's is Mountain Sparrow. Hey, thank you for coming aboard. I'm just trying to update the title here a little bit. Let me just take a few seconds to do that. Sailing Cook George, that's okay. Thumbnail, let's change the thumbnail. And then we will get back to the chat. What's a good thumbnail? Let's go to the back of the boat. There we are. So hopefully this is going to be good video because, let's say, I think we've got a little bit of save, okay. A little bit of circling here on the internet. We'll see how well that works. I think I'm going to put the phone outside in a minute. As soon as I figure out how to live chat replay. Okay, that's good. And let's go to the chat. No, Mountain Sparrow, the boat is it's like a cottage. Hey, Grizzly, thank you for coming aboard. Appreciate the company. The let's see, what did I do here? I lost my chat, so I can't tell what I'm saying to who and I'm saying it to, and this one is circling. The it's getting the end of summer, and I just took one of the sails off, the main sail off, and it every year is a bit of an adventure. How come this isn't giving me my chat? Every year is a bit of an adventure because I forget how I wanted to do things different this year. And basically in the way that I rolled up the sail. And I was going to change the top part of the sail to be on the outside instead of on the inside instead of the outside, so that I could slide the thing onto the boom without having to unroll the whole thing in the spring. And the school bus has more room than a boat. I've never. Last time I was on a school bus would be many years ago. But yeah, it's a mobile living kind of thing. You know, when I do cooking, I sort of aim it at people on boats. But some of the issues are the same no matter what van life. Follow a couple of van people that have similar challenges. So I'm got. I think the Wi-Fi is slow here, so I'm going to take the camera and put it outside, and then I'm going to come back in. Going outside, going outside, going outside. Let's see. Okay, we're going to change the view so that it looks this way. And is that a good view? Let's just aim it at that angle. Let's just go up a little bit higher. See if we get any anything interesting there. Okay, let's see if that made the Wi-Fi happier. Let's take this one and put it outside as well. And I'll just finish my Rice Krispie square. Hey, Soul Stitches, thank you for coming aboard. I was just away from the chat for a minute here. We're in Canada, in Toronto. Pardon me. We're in Toronto. Yeah, Rice Krispie squares last forever on the boat. They well, I didn't know that you were in Canada, Grizzly. I guess I never. And so is LiveNet. Thank you all for coming aboard. The Rice Krispie squares last forever. You know, there's that Simpsons video where they're talking about Twinkies surviving a nuclear blast, but I think Vaughan, I've been in Vaughan. I think Rice Krispie squares will outlast Twinkies because they've got the foil wrapper that sort of keeps the radiation out. Pardon me. After about a year, though, because I'll leave this stuff like that on the boat. After about a year, though, they do start tasting a little bit weird because the syrup has sort of started to settle out of the Rice Krispies themselves. So, pardon me. The other thing that lasts forever is granola bars. And for the Canadians, we've been starting to buy peanuts at Canadian Tire. So the Frank, they have this Frank brand, I guess, for snack foods and a bunch of other stuff. And I've been buying their big jars of roasted peanuts. And they last forever as well. And they're actually not bad peanuts. They're quite a bit cheaper than some of the brand names. And you know, when you're starting to buy your groceries at Canadian Tire, it signifies something. I'm not 100% sure what it signifies. Okay, so there's a bit of a typo here in this title. Let me change that. I'm going to lose the chat for a minute. I hate typos. And the internet's slow. There's a plane going overhead, so we're going to get a little bit of airplane noise. Yeah, dried beans, dried peas. There's a bunch of stuff that keeps pretty well. Especially for nomadic cooking. And hey, Angela Tanzer, thank you for coming aboard. I think I was on your channel earlier this week, checking you out. The it's a little bit like nomadic peoples in the Middle East, nomadic peoples in Cedar Mocha, pioneers here in North America. One of the things that I've done on my cooking channel that I want to update a little bit is saltfish, and I follow a few Jamaican cooks that do a lot of saltfish. She Cooks, She Roasts is one of my favorite. I believe she's Jamaican cook. Funny as heck. Interesting cooking, but more comedian than a cook. I think she cooks, she roasts, and she's come by here from time to time as well. The so saltfish. So the I have relatives from South America and the Caribbean, and friends, and they talk about the beauty of saltfish. So I a few times. What's going on here? I decided I was going to do a couple saltfish recipes, and saltfish again is one of those foods that last forever. That was from the time that boats would take fish from Newfoundland down to the Caribbean, and the only way to keep them is cover them in salt. So it's again sort of a thing that living roughs. The smoked carp. My father used to do smoked carp. He had an actual smokehouse, and he would do sausages and stuff like that. So this was on the farm, and we'd get smoked fish. And as a kid, I thought it was gross, but looking back, it was good stuff. And yeah, Grizzly, you talk about that kind of a lifestyle and that kind of a cooking lifestyle. So, but here, no, we're just sitting in a comfortable plastic sailboat in a marina. Nice blue sky. Oh my God, is it ever so blue? And at first, you can see the flag waving there. At first, it was supposed to be really windy, and the wind just got canceled. Pardon me. And my look at the Weather Channel this morning was that it was going to rain for most of the week, and that rain seems to have been pushed off until Friday night, because they took the mainsail off, and I was interested. There is a video from last year's mainsail off undertaking. Today, I was in a bit more of a hurry, so I didn't want to deal with cameras and stuff like that. But it is a little bit of a production, but it's a labor of love. It's could have a motorboat, then you wouldn't have to worry about sails. But then, to some extent, what's the difference between a motorboat and a car? Right? You turn the key and you're on the way. So, pardon me. This is what we've got. Flounder. Never had smoked flounder. Never had flounder of any kind, as far as I know. The there's a couple of people that live on their boats here, and some of them are smaller boats than this one. So they don't have a lot of storage, and again, they eat out a fair amount. So not cooking on board every day. For me, it's an enjoyable way to spend an afternoon, even if even if it involves work. The work is exercise, right? I watch Arizona Jake, who may or may not drive by later. Arizona Jake, his channel is him exercising, sweating his face off, trying to stay in shape, and he looks like he's in good shape. I mean, to the extent that what do I know about being in shape? But he's working away on the treadmill and on the weight bench, and I'm working away on getting the sails down and cleaning the anchor, and it's a different. It's something different. It's a different way of getting your excitement. So, but it's interesting. The sun is going to go down at 6:30 today, and I think when I started the lives on the boat, the sun was going down at 9 o'clock. So that's a huge difference in time. And it gets dark so fast, especially today without clouds to reflect the light from the city back. It's going to get dark pretty quickly. When I pardon me, looking at the weather, I was thinking about taking the jib off too, because the boat has two sails, a mainsail and a jib sail. The jib is the triangular one at the front. And I was going to take that off as well, but it would have taken too long to get, hey Puyan, thank you for coming by. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you. Yeah, I don't know how this thing with the crown works. I go to other people's channels, and sometimes I'm number one, and then I don't make a comment for a couple of minutes, and suddenly I'm number 3, or you lose your number altogether. So I don't think I really care what number I am. I don't understand what you're saying, so I'll say absolutely. The welcome aboard is all I'm saying. Pardon me. Subscribe to the channel if you have time. It's interesting, this doesn't do translate on the fly. Yeah, I have to find a place for the boat barbecue that... Oh, why am I coughing my face off? Iran. Oh, okay. Doesn't mean I understand, but cool. I think later on I can translate it on the fly, but I can't translate it while we're having all this fun. So I got to deal with the boat barbecue. It never did get mounted properly. I think I'll take it off in the winter. And okay, bye there. Thanks for coming by. And get a better mounting for it. The company that makes them, they make all kinds of mountings for different kinds of railings and attachment mechanisms. And so that's something that has to happen over the winter to make that better. The other thing I didn't do this year, it was on my agenda, I wanted to wash the water tank. So it has an inspection port but it has it's glued down, so I had to get a tool to take that off. And I never went past that, but I did buy a little pressure washer, a battery operated pressure washer, and I wanted to water blast that because it's 20 years, and you get weird stuff in your water. I pour some chlorine in it with every filling to help kill stuff. I wouldn't drink the water. Pardon me. I wouldn't drink the water, but use it for washing stuff. And but I did want to wash that, and never did get around to doing that. So the pressure washer is lying there. It's not going to go away. And then in the winter, it all gets drained, and a little bit of plumbing antifreeze goes in there anyway. And it keeps it from freezing because it does get cold here. The antifreeze says it's good to 50 Celsius, so 50 below, which is at minus 32 Fahrenheit and Celsius are the same coldness, right? Something like that, or maybe minus 40. So that's pretty cold. And it doesn't really get that cold here. We talk about windshield being minus 20, minus 30, but actual cold temperature is minus 10 Celsius. So it's relatively mild. And and the boat's by the water, so we get the lake doesn't really freeze over. It freezes over for a couple of days. Most of the time, the lake, the water keeps it a little bit warmer. So that's a good thing. But it does require antifreeze in the toilet and in the water system and in the engine. So it's a bit of another pleasant chore to do that work. The water system will get winterized while the boat's still in the water, because the angle of the boat when it's floating is slightly different than when it's on land, and the water drains from the tank better than when it's on land. So it's what I do is when I think it's finished, I take a sample of the water from the system with the ice antifreeze home and put it in the freezer, and the freezer gets to 20 Celsius below, and and I check to see if it freezes solid or not. And then if it doesn't, then I pour another couple of gallons of antifreeze in. And last year, because of the angle of the boat when it was in its cradle on land, it retained too much fresh water in the tank, and it didn't mix with the antifreeze properly. So it took much more antifreeze than I had planned. So by doing it while the boat's in the water, then the angle is different. And all the water drains out better. The engine is much simpler. The engine has an intake for normally for the water, because it has the cooler. It's not. It has a radiator, a water radiator, a heat exchanger, and it sucks water out of the lake and runs it through it. So just take that out and take the hose off there and stick a hose into a 4-gallon jug of antifreeze and let the motor run, and it sucks the antifreeze out. and it fills the engine cavities with antifreeze, and it fills the muffler. The muffler normally has water in it to reduce the noise. So the water replace it with antifreeze, then it won't freeze and crack the muffler. So, but those are normal boat winterizing kinds of things that anybody north of New York, I guess, has to deal with. The interesting, I have a friend who lived in New York for a while, New York City, Manhattan, and he had a boat in the river there in the Hudson, and but it would stay in the water all winter. Hello, hello, and hello. The Jesse and Kyle Little. So the because the Hudson doesn't freeze, and but it still gets too cold in the winter. So he, hey Ding, Simple Living, haven't seen you in a long time. I apologize. I haven't been out to see your channel in quite a while. Sorry, Kyle Little. Nightbot is sort of in charge, and whatever Nightbot wants to do, we just let him do his thing. Probably you had too many caps or too many emojis. The try reducing the caps or try reducing the emojis. Or you called me a garden slug. I guess it would reduce that as well. The hey, Hilmi Krishna Jane. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I don't think I've been to your channel in a while either. I'll make a note to drop in there after this is over, because it's sundown is 6:30 local time here. It's already 5 o'clock, so it's we'll an hour and a half, and then we'll be it'll be too dark outside to be any fun. Plus, it's getting too cold. But I was just talking about the guy in New York that what he would do is to drain the water out of his water tank and buy a few gallons of vodka, because the state tax in New York is very low, so it's cheaper to buy vodka than to buy antifreeze, and especially compared to our taxes in Canada are very high, so vodka is way too expensive. And then the vodka wouldn't freeze, and the antifreeze has a bad taste, so you have to flush it all out, which is a lot of work. Yeah, if it freezes up here, we get ice everywhere. Absolutely. Because in the winter, temperatures are between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius most of the time. When I say most of the time, maybe from middle of December to middle of January. By the end of January, it starts warming up. And where we are, where the marina is, the water freezes solid. Because it's a little bit of a bay, a little bit of a sheltered. In Toronto Harbor, it freezes solid. But once you're outside of Toronto Harbor, there's an island that's in front of Toronto. Then it's open water all winter. But the big ships, the freighters, they do stop over the winter. I guess partly because the seaway freezes between Montreal and Kingston, so the boats can't get through. And it freezes in Lake Superior and Lake Huron, so they can't get to the American ports over there. So, but yeah, it gets cold here. It's a fact of life. It's been doing it forever, and we'll do it forever. It's going to freeze, yeah. You're absolutely right, Jane. You're absolutely right. So, and the other thing about the vodka is you can drink it when it comes out. I don't know if he does. I never asked if they had a sort of a spring party. Let's drink the water out of our water, the vodka out of our water system. Um, but no, we just use antifreeze. It's made for recreational vehicles and plumbing in cottages that freeze in the winter. It doesn't kill you. Apparently, it's not good for you, but it doesn't kill you. I'm going to come outside in a few minutes and sit in the sun. With this remote microphone, we shouldn't get too much wind noise. No more sailing this year. Earlier today, I took the sails off the boat because they don't leave them on in the winter because they get wet, and if they get wet and they don't dry, then they get moldy. So the sails are off the boat. It was more. It wasn't more of work than I expected. It was. I expected it to be a lot of work. It's always work, but it's I enjoy it. It's a nice way to spend an afternoon. It's part of the sailing life. It's part of the sailing life. And some people don't like that work. They consider it to be work. Hey, Mr. Russian, thank you for coming aboard. Nice to see you. See, look at how blue the sky is here. It's, we had it wasn't bad weather last week, but it was cold. It was too cold. I didn't feel like sitting out here and freezing my feet off. I'm actually sitting inside the boat at this moment. I'm going to go outside in a few minutes while there's still sun. But it's definitely colder than, hey, stitching it up. Thank you for coming aboard. I haven't been to see you and your dogs in a while. I don't know why. Sometimes the notifications or that thing with a subscribed activity doesn't always make sense. You sit there and you look to see who's online, who's live, and some people don't show up. So I will apologize. I will make a note the next time I come by there. Oh, okay, then that explains why I haven't seen you. We'll come by and look for you anyway. I don't have dogs, but it's always nice to watch other people's dogs running around and having a good time. So the sunsets are getting earlier and earlier. Hey, Rashid, we'll look at your, go visit your channel once this is over or in the rest of the week. Give your wrench network as you wish. I do try to get back to everybody that has taken the time to come and visit me. Some of the people that are here I've seen many times. Some of the people are new, and it's partly a networking thing that the more people you spend time with, the more people spend time with you. And I'm working on this monetization thing. Oh my God, it's so many hours. One cooking video went viral. We're up to 6,000 views now, which is good. Hey, Brandon in Palm Beach, thank you for coming by. I know I was at one of your lives, and I forget already what you were talking about. It was a couple of days ago. I used to have a memory. I can't remember where I left it. Thank you for coming aboard, though. Really appreciate it. Palm Beach. I'd love to be in Palm Beach, but it's not going to happen. Assuming you're actually in Palm Beach. It's spent a lot of time in Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach. Those were wonderful wonderful times. We're in Canada. We're in Toronto Harbor. So yeah, but it's interesting. The trees still look a little bit green in the picture. They're not. They're starting to turn. A little bit yellow. So colors are changing. Okay. So cool. You get the both worlds. The city life and the country life. And that's probably a good way to live if you can make it work. Depends on the commute. 20 miles is either hours or minutes, depending on the time you're commuting, I guess, and the traffic and the roads. Colorful, yes. It was colorful. It's also the first sign of winter, so depressing a little bit that when things start turning colorful, you know that it's also the beginning of the end. But then they come back again. In 6 months, so we know that it's not a forever kind of thing, and we're used to it up here. Yeah. Yeah, Florida's got a lot of nice places to visit. Never lived there, but did visit from time to time over the years. Some work, some conventions, and some just lying on the beach. And from here where we are here, there's a beach on. When you look out, you see those trees. The other side of those trees is beach. Some of it's sandy, some of it's rocky, but it's not the same as a Florida beach. It's not the same as a California beach either. In my mind, one of the prettiest marinas is Marina del Rey, and I guess I was only there once, maybe 3 or 4 days in a row. I can't remember why I was in LA. I was working there for some reason, checking something out for somebody from Canada, and I stumbled across Marina del Rey. Now at that time I had a very small boat, so I wasn't even thinking about it from the point of view of a place to have a boat. It was just the boat lifestyle. Yeah, I've never been to the Florida boat shows. I watched them on YouTube, and it's amazing. We have a boat show here in Toronto, and I've done work for the show. I've done video for other people about events at the show and about boats at the show, and made videos for booths at the show over the many years. But it's nothing compared to what you have in Florida. I mean, it's not even the same world. I mean, it calls itself boat show, but it's not even the same world. I think there was 2 real sailboats, like sit inside sailboats last year. What was interesting, there was a helicopter. There was a booth with a helicopter sitting there, because there is a segment of the population that wants to get from Toronto to the Muskoka cottage country areas, and there's a bunch of lakes up there, and people have boats on them. So it's aimed at the boaters, but it's aimed at the people that we just talked about commuting. So normally Toronto to anywhere in Muskoka, 2 to 3 hours on Friday night, depending on traffic. 30 minutes by helicopter. What a lifestyle. Maybe somebody will adopt me. I've never been on the Gulf Coast of Florida. I had friends with a condo in Fort Myers, and I guess they're more. I had a client with a condo in Fort Myers, and every time he'd talk about his condo, I'd always be waiting for him to say, "So George, why don't you come down for a week and stay at our place and check out the beaches?" But I think I had that client for 10 years doing computer and photography and video production stuff, website stuff. And he never once invited me to his condo in Fort Myers. So, oh well. And it's not the kind of thing you can ask, right? You don't get invited, you move on. But yeah, never been that side of the of Florida. I always liked Key West. But one year, I stayed on the road down to Key West. There's as you're getting onto the Key West Key, there's a Best Western motel. There was anyway. This is several years ago, and stayed there. And but the beach was covered in seaweed, and it was really gross. And it didn't blow away the next day. It was just there. So that was kind of not a beachy environment. But the rest of the keys were always nice. Key Largo, I don't think I'd ever seen the Key Largo movie, but I did see it after, spent a couple nights in Key Largo. The biggest thing about Florida is it's warm. Now, I've never been in the middle of the summer, so I hear it's hot. But maybe once I was down for a convention in Orlando in the summer. But I don't remember how hot it was. I remember being in Las Vegas one year for a convention, and I saw a sign, I still have a photo of it, that said 105 degrees. And I remember it more because of the sign and the fact that it was 105, and I was so impressed that it got that hot. But it's a different kind of heat than you'd have in Florida because of the desert versus the air versus the sea air. So there's a lot of nice places that I visited, and many more that I never had the opportunity to get to, and always something to look forward to. Thought about from time to time of taking the boat down the Intercoastal. From here, you can get down through New York and then pick up the Intercoastal. It's also the sort of thing that you talk about and think about and fantasize about that probably isn't going to happen. One memory of Key West is somebody went to a wedding there. Somebody had a wedding, and it was on the beach. And very windblown. And then they had a reception on a catamaran that sailed around off of the coast, and then I think it would have been in May, and then the rest of the wedding reception was at a hotel somewhere. I can't remember which one, and it was cold. It was cold. That was and cold by Canadian standards. I see pictures of people, again, California more than Florida, people walking around the beach in ski jackets, and it's 70 degrees, and you're saying to yourself, how cold is it? But yeah, 100. And the heat index is always hard to tell how hot it really is. I mean, it feels hot because you're sweating and it's not evaporating because of the humidity. So I never really really understand these heat indexes and humidexes and stuff like that. It's the same in the winter, right? It's 5 below zero, and the radio says, oh, it's going to be 30 below. It's going to feel like 30 below. I know it's going to feel like 30 below. Just tell me what it really is. Okay, let's see if we can bring this computer outside, and we'll watch the chat from outside for a while. See if I can do this without losing all those pieces. Ooh, it's cold. I'm gonna get it. Pardon me. I'm gonna put a hot in Texas. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm a climate skeptic, but I think it is getting hotter in a lot of places, and people notice that from time to time. Let me just get myself another jacket. A screwdriver in my pocket. Better leave that here. I want to take that home. Pardon me. Okay, let's see if this is going to keep me warmer. The wind has picked up a little bit as well. Let's turn this slightly here. Get a slightly different angle. Okay, Brandon. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat. Let's see what are the computers doing here. So I got some bright sun here, so we're gonna have some shadows and oh, it's still windy, even with 2 lumberjack shirts on. Should get out my red checkered lumberjack shirt. The yeah, the hat. Thank you. There was an author, a writer in Canada, who had this hat. His name escapes me, and I interviewed him once, and he was talking about sailing. He was at a yacht club that I was at the time, and I was so impressed. Peter, oh shoot, the name will come to me. He had the same hat, and the other hat says captain on it, so it has its use as well. Oh, my friends across the inlet have taken their sails off as well, so maybe they were here earlier, because I can't remember. I thought their sails were up. I remember looking. Maybe everybody's getting ready to, summer's over, so. Hemingway, yes, Hemingway had a hat like this as well in some of the pictures that I've seen. So it's a symbol. It's a symbol. Yeah, Disney. When the kids were young, do that from time to time. Space Ranger Spin, that was the thing that they liked the best, because that was when Buzz Lightyear was out. And it's before they had some of the special head of the line kinds of tickets. But the kids would come out of the end of that ride and then run around to the line at the entrance and go through it again. And they do that 5 or 6 times until their parents got bored with that experience. Hey, Go With The Flow, thank you for coming by. I haven't seen you in a whole day. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Yeah, we're sitting here getting a bit of sun. And cold. Let's do a button here. This shirt, cheap shirt, some of the snaps are not working properly anymore. But it's a beautiful bit of sun. There's a few clouds in the sky. I keep hoping that we're going to see the swans coming by, and I haven't been able to provide you with swans all summer long, which is kind of sad as well. That the swans would come visit when nobody's watching, and then when people are watching, no swans. Yeah, Brandon, we'll check you out again next time you're live, or check out some of your videos. When I came into the marina, they're moving boats already, and parts of the parking lot are they don't want people parking there because they want to put boats there. And I talked to the guy driving the tractor that moves the boats, and he said, "Yeah, no, you can park there, no problem at all. Like your YouTube channels, I was watching you washing the boat a couple of weeks ago, and I was washing the boat a couple of weeks ago, and I think I had 8-10 viewers." before I was washing the boat. Then I went out and started washing the boat, and I lost everybody. Now, washing the boat isn't that exciting, and I think the angle I had the camera, basically all I saw was my butt and my back, which was not that exciting either. So no wonder I lost everybody. But yeah, people watch, I guess, and different. Yeah, hit the thumb, make the algorithm happy. And it's interesting, like we live and die by the algorithm. And so I've got this one viral video, mushrooms and liver and onions. And it took off in August. I'm not sure why. Everything has 300, 400, 500, 600 views. And suddenly this thing took off in August. And I don't know why. And now it's up to 6,000. So it's getting like 100 views, 150 views a day. And I'm saying, okay, can I capitalize on this? What if I change what if I create a link, an end page that goes to another video? So if people are watching that, they'll click on the other one. And I'm so afraid to make even the smallest change, because I'm afraid to upset the algorithm. I mean, sometimes I'll put in a description for something, and then after I see it 8 times, I say to myself, that's maybe a bit of a boring description. Let me change the order of the words, or let me take out a word. So I'll make a change. Sometimes I get more viewers, but I never know whether I would have got those viewers anyway. And but with this one, because I'm so impressed with the performance of this thing, I'm afraid to touch it and jinx it. So I'm saying to myself, because it's up to 6,000 now. It's getting 150 views a day. More, it had more on the weekend, and so I said to myself, okay, I'll change it when it's 6,000. So it's 6,000 now. And then this morning I said to myself, maybe I'll play with it when it hits 10,000. Now, other cooks have like 1 million hits on a cheeseburger, and my sad cheeseburger gets 300. I don't know why. I guess I'm not famous, so I do know why. Or at least I can guess why. Yeah, so you're chasing the likes and chasing the views and chasing the watch hours. It's sad what we're being reduced to. And then I'm reading this morning about ChatGPT, and I've used ChatGPT for a bunch of stuff. Some of my recipe descriptions come from ChatGPT because it is more eloquent than I am, and the video I was watching was some website genius guru talking about optimizing your website so that ChatGPT will find it, not humans, but ChatGPT, because humans will then go to ChatGPT to look up whatever and find it through there, or at least find the information through there. Now then the question becomes, do you want people to have information, or if you're selling something, do you want people to click? Or if you're presenting a recipe, I guess you want people to click it and watch it, so that potentially people will advertise on it. But if ChatGPT and Google AI are sort of siphoning off all of the reasons why people would ever come to a website, and then the question you ask yourself is, well, why am I doing all of this? A friend of mine is has a Blogspot blog, and something went wrong with it, and he asked me to look at it, and I haven't done that yet. I guess I should. And the problem is that Google isn't indexing Blogspot blogs anymore, so that you can blog all you want, and nobody will read it. And then another internet guru that I was watching, and somebody's radio is going off in the background here. Got a traffic report. Or else they're driving a tractor, moving a boat. Somebody's talking on a radio. Yeah, it's interesting, stitching it up. I find that ChatGPT gives me 3 times as many adjectives and adverbs as I would use myself. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. I do think people like more eloquent sentences than simple sentences. I will say, "Oh, that was great," and ChatGPT will say, "That was the most amazing cheeseburger I had." So it does provide a different phraseology. But what was interesting was that with both of these people that I was watching, were talking about how the users, people that watch stuff, aren't watching the stuff that people are creating. They're getting it filtered through ChatGPT and Google AI, and never really spent time on Microsoft's. But so if you're working hard to create a blog about whatever, and nobody finds it, what's the point? Now, I don't understand podcasts, so maybe the solution is let me just close this button here. We're getting quite a breeze here. This hat's going to fly off in a minute. The people who are doing podcasts, they say, I don't understand podcasts. I don't listen to anybody's podcasts. I don't subscribe to Spotify. I don't have Apple Music or any Apple thing. So I don't know how people find podcasts. And I don't totally understand what the difference is between a podcast and a YouTube channel. It's a one-way communication. I guess podcast is chattier. So something to understand more, I guess. What can you do with a podcast? And if I had this sort of conversation on a podcast, and I talked for an hour about sitting out on the dock and watching the sun come down, and being cold because the wind is picking up, and the buttons on my shirt aren't staying snapped because this is an old shirt and the snaps have gone dead. Time for a new shirt. Is there an audience for that? I don't know. I follow or I subscribe to. There's a lady called Little Red Big Smile out of England, and she does lives that are sort of just rambling, talking, but she does music as well. And she talks about her music being on her podcast, but I've never taken the time to listen to that. But I'll sit there and leave her live running for an hour. What's the temperature here? It says this computer used to tell me the weather. but it doesn't seem to tell me anymore. I would guess it's 14 Fahrenheit. I don't know, Weather Channel's gone. I think it's 14 Fahrenheit, so that is what, double and add 32, 28, 60, 14 Celsius, 60 Fahrenheit. It feels colder than that. And partly that's because of the wind. It was supposed to be northwesterly, which would have been blocked by the boat, but it's really northeasterly. And I think that's partly as a result of the hurricanes coming up the coast. And we're getting sort of the tail end of it. I'm looking up and there's mackerel skies. Now, I don't remember what the meaning of a mackerel sky is. There's either a poem about a mackerel sky or a book about a mackerel sky. But it's when you get sort of like these striped clouds. And we're going to get an airplane going over in a few minutes, so it's going to be hard to hear. But there's something about a mackerel sky. I mean, you know, there's red sky at night, sailor delight, red sky in the morning, sailor take warning. So there's all those sayings about the weather. But I don't remember what the story is about a mackerel sky. I guess I could Google it and AI would tell me all about what a mackerel sky meant and whether it was good or bad or a piece of junk floating around here. But it's a weird cloud because when it started, it was totally clear blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. And now it's getting a little bit. It's getting the end of the day. The sun's going to be behind that building, and it's already behind. There's a bunch of pine trees at the edge of the marina, so it's already behind the pine trees, and it'll be behind the building in a few minutes as well. And where's the wind coming from here? Yeah, even if I get closer to the cabin, it's still going to be a cold breeze. So after a while, I think we'll go back inside. We'll watch the outside weather together. Last time we were out here, I took a picture of vapor trails. There was a Boeing 747 from Anchorage to New York going by, and took a picture of this vapor trail. Now the camera I had was just this little Olympus camera, not my decent camera. And I thought I could sell that picture to the stock companies. Shutterstock bought it. Adobe said it was not up to our quality standards. So I was disappointed because it was really neat. Like this, you could see the 4 engines of the plane, and you could see a stream of vapor out of each engine. So it was really like four streams of vapor. Okay, stitching up. Thank you for coming aboard. We'll chat. We'll catch you on your own live. Yeah. I think I'm going to go inside where it is not as windy. I'm going to turn this around a little bit so we get a more interesting view. Let's see where this is aimed at. Let's turn this slightly more, get a different angle. on what's happening. Yeah, let's go down that angle. And I'm going to go inside where it's a little bit warmer. And I'm going to have what's left of another Rice Krispie square. Ooh, nice and warm in here. Nice and warm in here. No wind. Peter C. Newman. That's who the writer that had that hat or hat very much like it that I interviewed for, I can't remember what website, and he talked about his sailing days, and he wrote books on Canadian history. It's a bit of a historical, I guess, kind of bent. Peter C. Newman, yeah, he's no longer with us, but some interesting stuff. Enjoyed meeting him. We'll see how this sunset works out for us when we decide to give up. But with your permission, I'm going to have a Rice Krispie scare. I need some energy. Don't know how many people are watching. Rice Krispie square. Rice Krispie square and Diet Coke. Now I'm inside and just looking around to see what else has to be done before winter and then after winter. Still haven't solved the problem with why the bilge pump gave up on us that one time. And then why there was water in the bilge during the period of time that I had the bilge pump disconnected. What I really want is, I don't want it to be leaking somewhere. Obviously not leaking below the water line, but if it's leaking above the water line in the winter, there'll be nothing to pump the water out, and end up with a bit of a flood. Trying to avoid that. Hey, Mile. I remember you. Let's give you a wrench. Thank you for coming aboard. Can't remember where we met, but always a pleasure to have you. Day's going good. It's getting close to the end of the day. It's the sun goes down at 6:30 here today. It's 10 to 6 now. No, it's 5. It's almost 6. So once the sun starts setting, then we'll pull the plug on this, because it can get very cold and gets very dark very fast. I tried a few lives by the light of the moon, and actually some of them look nice in hindsight. I tried a solar light, but the solar light didn't work, or doesn't work, and it and now the places that sell solar things like solar lights here have all converted over to Christmas stuff, so there's no more solar lanterns. So that's going to be a springtime kind of thing. Because if I could light up the cockpit with solar lights, that would be an amazing look. But yeah, it is nice. There's some clouds at the other angle. Pardon me. You can see there's a lot of, the sun is getting very low on the horizon, so there's a lot of shade already. But the boats on the other side of the channel are still getting some sunlight. Pardon me while I just finish eating my Rice Krispie Square. From looking at that flag, it appears that the wind is coming from the north, but it's really more from the east. So it was really getting too cold out there, so I came back and inside the boat. Darlene, thank you for coming aboard. Haven't seen you since the last time we had this much fun. Good morning. Yeah, it's evening here, but good morning to you. Always happy to have you here. Always happy. Hey, with that, you're still here. Yeah, we're in Canada, in the Toronto Harbor. Boats in the Toronto Harbor, and it is nice. I guess I don't keep anymore, but when I started this, I really wanted to get a nice sunset. But the problem is the sun drops behind a bunch of buildings, and we really don't see any of the sunset sky at all. So it wasn't as dramatic as I was hoping that the sunsets were going to be. Otherwise, I'd turn basically the camera's looking southeastish, and the sun is setting to the northwest. Yeah, hey, that's nice. So we've got a bunch of Toronto people here. Toronto people say hi to each other. I did not go fishing this year. I was planning to do a catch and cook cooking expedition, and no, did not. Did not. As a kid, I'd do a lot of, hey, go, you're back. As a kid, I would do a lot of fishing. My father took me fishing, but that did not take the time this year. Next year. There's always next year. You got to have something to look forward to, like something that's something to do. Port Credit. Yeah, I know Port Credit well. I know the marina. Know the area around it. Really nice restaurant there called the... Now I can't remember the name of the restaurant. But yeah, right on that the Credit River. There's a nice Port Hope. I've never been in Port Hope. Been in Port Dover, Port Dalhousie. I think Port Hope. It's 2 exits on the 401. Yeah, Lake Simcoe. Lake Simcoe's nice. I know people that I knew people that lived on the lake. They've moved since. But yeah, it's a 2-hour drive from Toronto on a Friday night, hour and a half, I guess, middle of the day. Okay, I see, Mile, I see your channel. You got some boat stuff there, yeah. No, I was over at the Humber River a month ago, but I was with some other people, and they couldn't talk to anybody going down to the river to watch the salmon run. That would have been nice to see. You know, just nature doing its thing, right? It's just fish. But that would have been nice to see. Did not get the opportunity to do that. Snug Harbor Restaurant in Port Credit. I like that place. Free parking. The Port Credit Marina on one side, and the Credit River on the other side. I got to take a picture of that lighthouse one day. I mean, it's fake and it's been restored and doesn't really do any good. Oh, I'm impressed. How old is the fountain? Do you leave it at the marina or do you take it home? Yeah, I like that area. It's, I mean, for me, I live in Toronto, so this is good. Mississauga is, especially with the construction. It's been hour and a half to get to Port Credit from here. I have to actually take some canvas to Genco to have a zipper repaired, and I put that off all summer because I didn't want to deal with the traffic. And now that summer's over and I don't really need the zipper repaired, but they'll do it faster because they're not into the busy season again. Um, I'll drop in there and take get the zipper on a bimini repaired. It's they're nice people. I mean, it looks like they got rid of the chandlery altogether and they're just doing canvas. I don't know if they still have a store in Pickering. I remember them when they were downtown Toronto on King Street. So times have changed over time. I've used them for. So 2001 isn't that old. This boat's 2001. When you said old, I thought you meant 50s. The like there's some 50s Chris Crafts in this marina. Afloat? Are they floating? Maybe not floating, but yeah, they're around. Yeah, it's there's a lot of nice places on the water here. You always think there could be more. There's very few places to eat on the water in Toronto. I mean, Harbourfront has a couple of restaurants. Um, the other side by Sugar Beach, there's a couple of restaurants, but but that's kind of it. I always expected there to be more. And for some reason, this year was supposed to be a lunch on the Kayama, that didn't materialize either. That's an interesting old converted tourist tour boat. They're out there every day. Almost ran into them once, or they ran into me once. Let's see. Sail has right away over Steam. Sail is the stand-on boat. Steam, piece of crap, is the giveaway boat, but they didn't think that was the way the collision regulations worked, so we simply spent time screaming at them and blowing the horn and I mean, you don't want to run into them because it damages the boat. Yeah, Lake Simcoe's nice. It's again, for me, to get to the boat, it's 15 minutes or less. Getting out to Lake Simcoe or Port Credit, it's like a whole adventure. And Lake Simcoe, Highway 400, is always a disaster. No matter what day of the week, what time of the day, something bad happening on Highway 400. Yeah, Thousand Islands is nice. I had a friend with a house right on the water in Brockville. Had friends in Kingston. Motorboated on other people's boats through the Brockville to. I guess that's really not Thousand Islands anymore, is it? That's already past the Thousand Islands, but that part of the world. That's a nice area. That's a nice area. It but I've never been on the water there, except, as I say, the motorboat, other people's motorboats, um, cruising up and down the river. There are a lot of nice places that you can get to that aren't that far. So Kingston is, what, 3 hours on a slow day. Quinte Harbor. Had a boat that I sold to a guy that moved it to Quinte. We said we'd keep in touch, but we never actually did. It would have been nice to see what he did with it. It was a older CS-27, and he was going to fix it up. It was in good shape for a 1979 boat, but it needed a new fuel tank. I think the fuel tank had a bit of a leak, so there's a bit of a diesel smell on a regular basis. And because it was they had old metal fuel tanks at the time, but that was a good boat. It was a good boat, very very heavy, very stiff, good in a decent amount of wind. I regret. It came with a drifter, light wind sail, and I regret giving him that because he would never have known. And it had 2 sets of sails, so he would have got lots of sails out of it anyway. But I'd like a drifter for this boat, because very often we only have like 2-3 knots of wind out here, and the boat barely moves with that kind of wind. It's interesting the camera's adjusting to the darkness, because now the dark parts aren't as dark anymore. No, Mile, I'm a very unexciting sailor. To me, as long as you see the CN Tower, you're okay. If you can't see the CN Tower, time to turn around. Counterclockwise around the island 1 week, clockwise the other week. That's the extent of my adventures. I chartered once in the British Virgin Islands for a week. That was good. It was fun. Chartered in Vancouver Harbor a couple of times. That was fun. Somewhere in Florida, I can't remember where. I know the objective was to get to across the Bay of Biscay. Never did that. Biscayne. It was a smaller boat. It was probably like a 20-footer, 22-footer. And the wind and the tide just weren't right, so that it was on the water, but it wasn't exciting. That's as far as the adventures have gone. Now we've had a really good moon for the last couple of days, and I'm wondering when the moon's going to come out. I remember one night I was down here, and we were live, and it had gotten really dark and stormy, and really cloudy. And but this was when sundown was around 9 o'clock, so in the middle of the summer. And I remember just as I was wrapping up and putting stuff away, there was a break in the clouds, and the moon came out. Huge, bright yellow moon, yellowish moon, shining through this hole in the clouds, and that was the end of the clouds, because the clouds, the wind blew them all away, and we ended up with the moon for the rest of the night. There was another night when we had the forest fires, and again the moon came out close to the end of the live, and it was really orange because of the haze in the sky. But that was only the one night. The next night it was a bright, normal moon color. So there's been some interesting moons down here. So I'm curious what the moon's going to do today. And always interested in knowing, and you could look it up, but I never do, in knowing where the moon's going to be, if the moon's going to be in the east or the west. Because that affects a little bit what it looks like. If it's, the moon shining through the masts is a really, hey, Colleen's Corner, thank you for coming by. Welcome aboard. Ahoy. The moon shining through the masts makes sort of like an interesting wall art photo kind of concept that's really really interesting, because the colors are there, and you've got a mast going through the moon. You know that you're in a nautical environment. So good to see you're good. Good to see you're good. Yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting for the sun to set. There's a little bit of a reddish in the sky. The sun sets. This is looking totally 180 degrees the other direction from where the sun would set, except the sun sets behind a bunch of buildings, so it's a boring sunset and then trees. So it's not worth turning the camera around to look in that direction, but we're seeing a little bit of the orange from the glow of the sun against the haze. It is beautiful. It's cold. I was sitting outside in the shot for a while, but the wind has changed direction, and it's cold. I ended up putting on 2 sets of shirts, lumberjack shirts, and it was still cold. So I came inside, but I'll leave the camera outside to watch the sky turn dark. It's always good to see you. Always good to see you. So I took one sail off today. There's been some rain, and there's going to be more rain. And I don't want the sails to be wet when I put them away, because they'll get moldy over the winter. So the main sail's off, the jib is still up, but it's a little bit less work. And it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, and it's supposed to be nice Friday. So tomorrow I've got a couple of things I have to do. But Friday we'll come down and we'll take down the jib. And it's supposed to rain Friday night, so, and then it's going to rain for several days. So if the jib's coming off, then the time to do that is in the next couple of days before the rain starts, so that it's not wet when it gets put away. if Mile is still around there. One of the last times I was in the Port Credit Marina was when I bought this boat. I was looking for a Nonsuch, and there was a Nonsuch 32 for sale there. And it was in the winter, but it was shrink wrapped. And so it was kind of, I've never had a shrink wrap boat before. It was kind of interesting walking around inside the shrink wrapping because it's warmish because the sun's shining on it. And there's no signs of winter, it's all covered. And it's like being inside a tent, because it is a tent. It didn't buy the Nonsuch though. It already had an old CS-27, so it was basically replacing one old boat with another old boat. So, but that was a Port Credit Marina issue experience. And it's interesting because we're seeing more orange than I'm usually seeing in the photo, in the picture at this time in the evening, because I guess there must be a low bank of haze or cloud over there that's reflecting the light from the sun at the other 180-degree angle from the direction the camera's looking. But the sun's not getting, again, we're blocked in from the here we're below the level of the surrounding buildings and marina buildings and the trees, so the sun's totally blocking where we are. So it looks pretty dark out there. It's not really that dark in real life when I look at it from sitting inside the cabin of the boat here. Yeah, the wind's picking up. I can feel the boat rocking a little bit, and the sound of the fenders rubbing against the dock. And the flag's waving more, so I guess the wind just picked up again. Yeah, we'll let it go. Hey, Simply Milda, thank you for coming by. Haven't seen you in at least a couple of days. Always a pleasure to have you aboard. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. I'm getting cold just inside the boat here because the wind is blowing in. I've got the doors open. So the wind is blowing in full force. We'll let it keep going for another 15 minutes. By that time, the sun should be down completely. And the camera should be almost hard to see. And it's interesting, the pictures are interesting. So I was recording cooking the shrimp and the salmon on the boat, and I was recording myself talking about it and eating it, and the picture looked good when I was looking at it on the boat, on the camera, on the phone, on the boat itself, and then when I got it home on the computer, on the editing computer, the focus was very soft. It wasn't just noisy from high ISO. The focus was actually soft. And so soft that I couldn't use it. It was me talking, and I'm looking to see in the white captain's hat. And I'm looking to see what it looked like up close on a big screen, and it was awful. So I guess the as it got darker, the camera couldn't focus properly, and yeah, it was very, very soft. I mean, the sound was okay, but the picture wasn't usable. It was embarrassing. It would have been embarrassing to use it. Yeah, I hear more and more of the wind rocking the boat against the side of the dock, and it's, I don't know if we're expecting a storm. I don't think we're getting a storm until Friday night, so maybe I have to change my plans for taking down the jib if it gets wet. Another airplane overhead. But we never see the airplanes in the picture. The angle is just wrong from where the airplanes land at the Toronto Island Airport, Billy Bishop Airport. I mean, they're just small planes. They're two-engine Bombardier Q400s. I guess it's 2 rows, 2 seats each. 20 rows, 50 passengers maybe. And they fly to New York and Montreal, Ottawa. I think in the summer they were down to Virginia. I don't know if that continues all winter long. It's a convenient airport. Get a little ferry to go there, so it's a little bit of an adventure just getting there. Yeah, that's a really interesting looking sky. I guess it is. It's orange in real life as well. I just looked out. Not as dark in real life, or your eyes just adjust to it differently. But oh, pardon me. And earlier we would get ducks and birds coming up in that channel as it got close to the end of the day. And now they're not even coming to visit anymore. I guess they've got enough food on the other side of the harbor and they don't want to get involved with boats chasing them away. And even, I don't like cormorants, but even cormorants, I see them come in and they dive down under the water and they come up far, far away with a fish in their mouth. So it's, there's not that much wildlife. Get a fish jumping every once in a while. Somebody was talking about smoked carp. Yeah, we get some carps in this water. Oh, what else do I have to do here? I have to check the water level in the batteries. 2 years ago, I ran the batteries dry, and that wasn't good for them. In the winter, the voltage went down to 10 volts, and at 10 volts they'll freeze. And I want to avoid that, so I bought more distilled water. We'll check them before the winter. I thought I'd have to buy a couple of new batteries because it's really two 6-volt batteries in series to make 12 volts that somebody had set up in here. It's not what I would have done, but again, it came that way, and as long as it works, I'm not unhappy with it. It makes sense. But yeah, they were the kind of batteries that you could open the cells. And I don't know why I thought I would check. I guess I should have checked on a regular basis. I mean, some batteries are sealed and you can't even open them, and you can't add water to them. But, pardon me, should have checked the water in these earlier. So that's something that has to get done too. I guess I should make a checklist of stuff that I want to do. And make sure we have enough water so they don't freeze. Although, why would they freeze? Because if they freeze, if there's less water, because the water is evaporated, the acid doesn't evaporate. And so they should be even more acidic and therefore even harder for it to freeze. But something to check out. Look how orange that sky is getting. Look how orange that sky is getting. I'm going to come outside for a few minutes and see what it looks like outside. Yeah, I don't see any birds anywhere. I don't see any wildlife of any kind. Even the swallows and red-winged blackbirds have gone away. But you usually see more of them in the spring anyway. Let's take this sail cover in. Where am I going to put the sail cover? How about here for now? Yeah, still cold outside. We'll give it another 5 minutes and then we'll see what the Hey, One-Handed Life, welcome aboard. Let's give you a wrench. I subscribed to you a long time ago, and then for some reason you weren't showing up in any of my notifications, and then suddenly you were. So sorry I haven't spent more time watching your stuff. It's yeah, it has been nice. It's cold now. I put on 2 lumberjack shirts because I didn't bring a jacket. I was working on the boat during the day, and I did appreciate the good weather. It's supposed to rain on Friday, so I got one sail off because I want to get the sails off before they get wet. Didn't cook anything exciting today. Yesterday was a 1-pot chicken with celery and some other stuff. It was really good. It was really good. I had it for lunch. Had it for dinner yesterday and for lunch today. But dinner is just going to be maybe a sandwich, if even that. I'm not hungry. So yeah, it's. But yeah, so you're in Toronto too. One hand. A bunch of Torontonians dropped by today, more than ever. It's kind of interesting. Small world. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the sunset. It's going to get dark in a few minutes, and then I'm going to pull the plug on this. Yeah, the boat comes out in 2 weeks, so we've got to do some winterizing kind of stuff for it. It's only going to get colder, and it's going to get less pleasant to work outside. So the mainsail's off. The next big thing is to get the jib off. That does take a bit of time. Take it down and fold it up and put it away, and then it's basically ready. I guess I was talking earlier about winterizing the water system because it does freeze, and so that has to be done, and then it'll be ready. Yeah, there is a bit of wind. There is a bit of wind. The wind is from the east. I thought the wind was from the northwest for a while, or that's what at least the Weather Channel said it was going to be. And it's pretty well due east, so it's blowing right into the boat, and it's cold. It's cold. So, but it is sunset. So I thank you for coming aboard at the last minute, but I think I'm going to slowly pull the plug on this, and and see what I'm going to do for the rest of the evening. I've got to edit a recipe, but I think I'll leave that till Friday. Yeah, thanks for coming by. No, the boat is not a liveaboard. It's my cottage by the lake. It's my cottage by the lake. So yeah, I'm going to pull the plug on it. I do appreciate you. Oh, I have to go out and find the phone. I'm sitting in the boat and I'm saying, where do I click to end the stream? Do appreciate you coming aboard. Yeah, see, we don't see the sunset at all because it goes down behind those trees, and it's already pretty dark here. But all we're seeing is sort of the light behind the trees, and that tree's lost all its leaves already. That's weird. Yeah, that tree's lost all its leaves. A couple of days ago, that tree was still pretty green. So it's the end. Yeah, we got two planes coming in. I see two lights. I'm going to press the end button, and then if I can do that without. I sure want to stop streaming. I want to stop streaming.